The information provided is not a substitute for legal and other professional advice where the facts and circumstances warrant. People should always consult their own legal or other professional advisors and discuss the facts and circumstances that apply to their specific circumstances. The information shared on Ask the Landlord is for educational purposes only.
Hi, everyone, and we're back. Another episode of Ask the Landlord with our favorite landlord, Albert Dweck. I'm Melissa. I'm one of Albert's producers and a former New York City renter. And together, we're going to be asking this landlord some questions. Today, Albert, I want to circle back to something we talked about in the past. I want to hear more about some landlord pet peeves because that was really interesting. So let's hear them.
Thanks, Melissa. Oh, these pet peeves. I think this one is like, you know that you're innocent in the United States until you're proven guilty, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that.
You agree with it? Like it's a thing. Like living in America. You're innocent until you're guilty. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fact. Yes.
Unless you're a landlord.
Why? Do tell.
You tell me. It seems like the landlord's wrong immediately. This is like, and this may be a sensitive subject for this podcast, but this is ultimately, I think, what this podcast is about.
It is the stereotype.
It's a stereotype, right? This is one of the things that I'm like,
it's the landlord's fault.
Yeah, like, we go to court with the tenant, and I'm going to say this like in a messed up way, but I understand it's necessary and there's problems. I'm all about fixing the system.
Mm-hmm.
I recall that in New York, the city gave like free legal aid to tenants in a way, and the purpose of that was to curb homelessness. So what they wanted to do was, we said we have a homeless problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to use taxpayer money to give free legal to tenants so they don't get evicted. I'm like, sounds good. Let's put a pause on that for 1 second and go, what about just making more housing so that we have enough housing for people, and then coming up with programs that are affordable so that people can live?
That's a good solution.
No, but let's go with what's real now. Oh, we're going to have free legal defense for tenants so that they stay in their houses. But what if they're not paying rent?
Then what?
Right? So you're immediately launched into a conversation where it was like, oh, someone's not paying rent. I don't understand. So now it goes, this is my pet peeve. I'm like, Wait a minute. You want groceries. You go to the supermarket. What do you have to do? Are they going to give you free groceries?
No, you got to buy those groceries.
You go to the gas station with your car.
You pay for the gas.
I don't understand, Melissa. How is it possible that you go to the grocery store? Aren't you entitled to eat?
I think so. Yeah.
Right. But so why do you have to pay for that?
I mean, unless you grow your own food, but that's not happening in the city.
But don't you pay for growing your own food?
Yeah, yes, you do. You pay for the water, you pay for the soil with money.
And with your time. And with your energy.
My time. Mm-hmm.
Right. So you are paying.
Correct.
Right. So, but you could see that certain people say, well, everyone should have food to eat, which is also important to understand. Like, I agree with that. Like, people should be able to eat.
Right. There shouldn't be world hunger, but there is.
Right. And we need to solve that. So there are people that, okay. But at the same time, you shouldn't go to a grocery store and walk out without paying.
Right. Correct.
Although that's legal in some states.
What do you mean?
What? There are certain states where you could shoplift a certain amount of money and it's only a misdemeanor or something. It's not legal, but it's
okay. So yeah, it's not legal, Albert. Come on.
There's a dollar threshold where it's like nothing.
All right, don't shoplift. We're not endorsing shoplifting here on Ask the Landlord.
No, but I'm. It's like this similar. This is one of my pet peeves. It's like,
right.
how do you want this system to work? So what I notice a lot, and this is also related to the same topic, is that we need to fix this system.
And how do we do that?
Right. And what we do as citizens in a country is we elect people that represent our interest and that we want to fix the system. However, the way that the system is set up is that the politicians are there for a very short time. So they're incentivized to make promises just to get elected, which is okay. But they're not there for the long term. And you really need a long-term thinker to fix these sometimes big problems.
Right, that have been going on for
such as housing. Right, such as a housing shortage. So you really need a long view for that. But the guy's only elected for 4 years or 2 years.
Problem.
So that's an issue, And then what happens is, it's a cycle that keeps happening. Landlords. Oh, we go to court. The landlord must be wrong. Immediately.
Right.
I'm like, how about let's just start with a fair situation? Let me figure out what happened.
Yeah.
So that's a pet peeve of mine. And I'm like, on the one hand, I appreciate that people are entitled to live in a nice place or, have a good home and it's safe, fine. And at the same time, they also have to pay for it. And they also have to realize that has to be paid for somehow. And that there is a relationship where this all works. And I'm committed to helping to figure out one that works, a system that works long term. But one of my biggest pet peeve is how landlords are made wrong off the get-go. And the same thing, like I think tenants are made wrong by landlords.
Interesting.
Like, why is that? Why do we have to get into that? Like, why is the tenant wrong? Why can't the tenant be right away? But the problem that we most deal with in this country that I've experienced is that, you're looking at a situation, you have landlord and tenant, immediately the tenant's right. I'm like, it's not right.
Right. You never know. Every situation is very different.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, the reason we're doing this show is to build that bridge because there is a stereotype and a stigma around just the word landlord. I'm sorry.
There's a guilty,
right. Yeah.
Guilty before innocence.
Yeah, and it's just, they just think, I mean, sorry, I'm really sorry. But
no,
are like,
don't apologize.
Yeah.
This is what I want you to say. Go, what do you want to say?
People are like, oh, the landlord's out to get me. Oh, this landlord, what and he's it or she, and because there is no communication. Like I talked to my landlord once when I got my apartment and then never again. Why?
I don't know. I mean, I'm with you. I
have his number, but I never felt comfortable calling him.
That's what we're out to fix here.
Yeah. How do I call my landlord and not feel guilty or feel like I'm going to get shut down right away? That's the problem at hand. And I don't know when it started. Maybe we can, maybe there's a movie that, perpetuated this stereotype. I don't know. Back in the 70s.
Maybe we're making a movie. Maybe we'll make one. That's The Landlord, the movie.
Let's do it. We'll start writing it.
There was a movie called The Super with Joe Pesci.
Oh, fun. Yeah. That's great.
Which is a fun movie to see. But you're right. It's
No, it's honestly, I don't know if it's nationwide or I'm just talking about New York City, but because it's a thing. It's true. And how do we stop that? Like, how do we fix that? Right. That notion that landlords aren't our best friends.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, there you have it. That's the root of one of my pet peeves. And, I don't want to be, I want to be innocent before I'm guilty. And I think we're landlords, we get that bad rap. So
I get that fully. And I'm guilty of that. So I apologize to my landlord and
I accept it on behalf of your landlord.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Okay. That was a good pet peeve. I'm sure you have so many more under your sleeve and I can't wait to hear them all. So thank you so much, Albert.
Thank you, Melissa.
For more episodes, please subscribe to Ask the Landlord on your favorite podcast platform. We'd appreciate it if you left a review on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to watch the show, check out our Ask the Landlord YouTube channel. If you have a question for Albert, feel free to contact him on Instagram at @AskTheLandlord and check out his TikTok at @AskTheLandlord. Bridging the gap between landlords and tenants, this has been Ask the Landlord. Thanks for listening.